That's a good point, because as I've gotten older, I'm a history major, and as Dwana said, and she was the only one I knew from day one. Our parents were very much involved with NACP. I can't remember a time when I didn't really know her and her family. So I think as I got older, as a child, you just kind of grin and bear it, you know. In the first grade, I think, and we've talked about this some, I think I tend to internalize a bit more. My mother had 2 younger children when I started, and she was pregnant. I mean, she had a baby in February when I was in the first grade. And I guess as a little boy living in a patriarchal society, you tend to kind of like, I'm all right, and I'm trying to do what daddy want me to do, and so I ain't gonna come home like no damn crybaby. So I know I internalized a lot and just grin and bear it. I see it wasn't, I wasn't physically abused as much. It was more kind of a mental drain. But again, as a historian, and I think that, because I really enjoyed going to LaRose School. When I went to BTW in the 10th grade, I was surrounded by people who had friends they had known all of their life. I went to BTW, I knew one person, and we grew up in church together. And I had more friends, y'all, Miss Griffin, Miss Barber, Bernice Barber went to our church, Doc Hunt went to our church, Miss Galloway was a card player, and Miss Griffin. I knew those from my mother's and daddy's social outlet. So as I got older, and I reflect on that, I say it would have been great if we had a place, a little more emphasis on equity and education. Okay, because in all due respect, sending 13 children in the first grade, 46 the second year, and I think 120 made the third year, what does that say about the education for the other 40 to 45,000 black kids who are still in all black schools? Okay, I mean, and does it say that the only reason you're gonna get education is that you sit next door to Billy Bob or Karen? And one thing I like to stress is that I think, again, Famby talking, is that you can't really put a dollar on the love and the commitment that those black teachers had for us, because they knew the society in which we had to deal with. I don't care how dirty or clean the floor was. I don't care if they served cold food for lunch, if they got underpaid, but they knew in their mind and heart, because again, back in the day, if you were a black teacher, you were trying to top ranking. And that was something that we honored and cherished as almost like a doctor or a nurse. You were doing something. It wasn't about the pay. You were performing a service. So again, for me, making sure that if they spend $1 on Billy Bob and Karen, they need to spend $1 on Famby and Leandrew. If they pay Miss White teacher $1,000 based on education, they need to pay Miss Black teacher $1,000. If they clean Bruce School twice a week, they need to clean LaRose twice a week. So I'm saying somewhere, obviously, that happened, but I think for me, again, because it's hard to learn if you're on the defensive. I'll be honest, I hated going to school. I mean, it was not fun for me at all. It was like, oh my God, here we go again. And I'm gonna tell y'all something, y'all gonna laugh. And I know it happened like in the 2nd, 3rd grade. We used to do Valentine's cards. I can remember, Mommy, I want some Valentine cards. I'm gonna give Susie and Jane, and so I had my cards, and I'm like, hell, ain't nobody gave me no cards. I'm gonna keep my cards. After about 1 or 2 years, I said, Mom, we're not doing this, okay? You can save that money and do something else, because they ain't gonna send me home all hurt feelings because I ain't get no cards. Okay? I don't want no Valentines. It ain't coming from the heart. So I think, again, no matter how many laws you change or pass, how many court decisions, what's got to change is the love in people's heart. You got to, again, one thing I say for us as black people, we didn't go there with animosity. I didn't go there thinking bad about white folks. I mean, I wasn't raised like that. We were not taught like that in our black churches or in my black homes. We went there, I went there with love in my heart and malice toward none. I want to be Bobby's friend just like I was down at LaRose. Now, Bobby was, one day he was my friend, but maybe 3 days he wasn't my friend. So it was a kind of a schizoid I guess it was an issue around trust. But again, the issue of equity in education, I think, is prime, and I don't think it was really dealt with enough.
From door to door, knocking on doors. Somebody went up to our house and knocked on the door, ran in the house. Mama, Daddy, somebody out here. It's a whole bunch of people out here running around looking like animals running around all through the neighborhood. So they went in, talked to my mom and daddy, and said who they were, NAACP, and they was trying to desegregate the schools, and they wanted to know were they willing to take applications on you. So my daddy said, fine, I have no problem. My mama said, ooh, no, I don't. My daddy said, well, we're gonna do this. So they did, and I got chosen, and I had a next door neighbor, Deborah Hope, which she is deceased now. Both of us started Integrated Springdale. And we had police protection at night. We walked to school. They rode side by side as we walked to school. Once we got into school, my mom and them walked inside. We went to our room and looked around. Only thing I could say, the schools are very different from
Gordon. I'm the only one that was treated decent after the whole bunch. And I didn't know this until after the documentary. Because of my first grade teacher, I didn't know I was treated. I thought I was a white kid. Mine, this was 1961. And she was so decent that she gave me a picture of her. I had this picture since 1961. 1960, she gave me this picture. And like saying to the documentary, I thought all the rest of Memphis 13 were treated like I was. Like I say, because of my experience, I really did think I was a little white kid. Because I had no bad experience. And didn't know about them until the documentary.
Thank you all for
I don't know, because, like I said, when I was in first grade, everything just was so peachy for me. We used to make the homemade ice cream in school. We'd take turns. We used to churn the butter, make homemade butter. I mean, I just really just, didn't even know I was different. Just, it just was just so, like I said, I just wasn't taught racism at home.
I don't know. I think it's hard for a teacher to teach you when they despise you.
Amen.
You will not get the quality of education that you deserve, first and foremost. And I'm hoping that when since they making it a law in Germany, matter of fact, they teach the 3rd and 4th grades about the Holocaust. Because it happened.
That's right.
They're not trying to hide it, but we as a people, want to teach nostalgic history. Make it palatable for somebody, for a few.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that one day we'll teach not black history, white history, but all American history.
Yeah.
Right? And it's all intertwined in just one subject, just history.
Yeah.
I mean, when you know better, you should do better.
Yeah.
But our kids don't know better.
Yeah.
First of all, if they whimper, they get whatever they want. So they don't know. You gotta know bad to know when you're doing good. So that's what I'm hoping to have happen.
It is, it did not only affect us, it affected our parents.
Yeah.
Alice's mom, when she was gonna go work for this lady, cleaning the house, and then she was taking her sister's place. And the lady called Alice's mom and she said, "Did you register your boy at that white school?" And she said, "Yes." She said, "Well, I don't need you, because you shouldn't have done that." So our families were also affected, and then in some families it brought animosity because some kids, they bought clothes for, but they didn't purchase clothes for the sisters and brothers. So that was a problem too. And I'm gonna pose a question to everybody. How many of you knew about the Memphis 13 before this documentary was ever told? Did anybody know? Okay. So the thing with me is that I used to always say, well, everybody knew about the West Memphis 3. Those were the young men that killed those kids. But here in the city of Memphis, nobody knows about the Memphis 13. I've been to Harvard Law School. We went to Ole Miss. Sheila and I went to the Thurgood Marshall Law School. We were treated like rock stars. When I tell you we were treated like rock stars, those people were so appreciative of us. And we had this one gentleman that told us, he was an older white man. He said, "I am so sorry for what my race did to you." Because with our mother, it was just that she wanted us to be able to go to a neighborhood school. We had to go 13 blocks. We lived like right there. Going to school was right here. But we had to pass that to go to Klondike. Cause like where we stayed on our end, that was considered all black. That's where all the blacks stayed. But when you got to Gordon, that was where all the whites stayed. So we were going from now it's the same neighborhood, but we was going from the black neighborhood through the white neighborhood to get back to another black neighborhood to go to school. So with our mother, it wasn't about that. She just wanted us to go to a neighborhood school because our children should be taught the same. The curriculum should be for Gordon, it should be the same as it is for White Station. But it wasn't like that back then today for the black and the white. Our books were old and ragged. Our schools were dingy. But when you went to Gordon, it was all lit up. Sheila said she thought she was in Macy's at the Christmas store. So that's how it was.
Yeah.
And that's the honest to God truth. And I don't know how many of you have seen the documentary, but if you haven't, you need to look at it.
Yeah.
And it needs to be taught. That I brought up the thing that I feel that teachers should go back to the classroom and take the question to the kids. Let's just take this home and ask your parents. Do you know about the Memphis 13? Start a conversation. If their parents don't know, their grandparents might know. And Sheila and I were in Kroger's about 2 weeks ago, I think, and we were walking down the aisle, and this lady said, she said, "Can I ask you something?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Are y'all in Memphis?" She said, "Y'all are in Memphis 13. I said, "Yes, ma'am." Yeah, we are. And Sheila and I have a son, and I tell him I love girls, but boys are my heart. And I want our young men, our young black men to know that you can do anything. You don't have to sell drugs. You don't have to wear your pants hanging down. I tell everybody, we opened up the doors for the city of Memphis. We opened up a lot of doors. We have black young police officers that tell us, thank you. We have news reporters that tell them, thank you. You open the door for us. All you gotta do is just go through it.
Speak to groups of people about the experience and for you all to see, because our story is your story and your story is our story. I think one of the best moments for me today was when Dr. Tillis said, now talk amongst yourselves and talk about your stories. And immediately it went from just her voice to a room full of voices, and we didn't really want to stop you guys. And I mean, you guys were engaged at a level, because it isn't Black history. This is American history. This is all of our stories. It is the social experiment that ushered in integration for the United States of America. And each one's perspective is equally as powerful. So in hindsight, what I feel about having been the only one of the 13 that actually went from 1 through 12, so I was a part of that social experiment for 12 years. So I literally graduated with white children who I had gone to school with for 12 years. They were my friends. I did go to their houses and spend the night. They did come to my house. Not all of them, but you got your little crew of friends, and I had an integrated crew of friends. And it was a very difficult thing, because not only did we get, some of us experience that hatred and that abuse when we, emotional, as Fambi said, it was really a very emotional thing. When we went to school, but I can remember when I went home to my Black neighborhood, how the kids looked at me, shunned me, talked about me. Oh, you think you better than us. You understand? So if I had not had sisters and brothers to play with for the first few years until others start to matriculate into the integrated schools, I wouldn't have friends in my neighborhood. So I went to school and it was a problem to play with kids. I go to my neighborhood and it was a problem to play with kids, because I thought I wasn't thinking none of that. But that is how we perceive it. So when we talk about the equality part, one of the things that I've come to understand is when there is something that we are something new or different that we are embracing, what I find is there are not enough people that are engaged in the transition. You've got the few, and it's always, throughout history, it's always only been a few of the people that really bring forth most of the change. And that is even a problem today. In many of the meetings and events that I go to, whether it's an NAACP or SCLC, whatever it is, there's the same people that I saw at the last one. So where is everybody else? And I believe that